Fast forward, any Kumo, China so GH politics avenue. Political stories share trendy and make waves making headlines. And the Jumbre na EDB Exumo Awase. Need even young Braximus and AD Kanya. We shock say which must subscribe to the channel. Hit on notification bell, share na avo Franco answer into me and Kimi. Need even young Braximus, best talk say Yamo and Ryan Sim. When you're quaying Sima, a Chief Justice. Na meno kase room no attorney general etimi criticize a Ghana Bar Association for selective comments meno kase a Ghana tonight so afraid of kanze ene the for attraction ene omo nsemu pensemu na nsemu nyina no se what to say adia ato yama me get to kunu imegi etwemu enu abi na enso eto enkane yisi boss Charlotte say na eba ne say na sisi ade hu Ghana Bar Association say ase yama me to kunu de ne de o manu dem bunkum eni nifa left right center baby a omu nyina do o manu atuma ase omu no mabia kamia ko yese kwanya omampanyi fa so a odi maame no to ase akunya no se bia so se bia nya do enye emra kwa so Charlotte say omampanyi dada wotwam na dan ko Akuffo Addo itimi eyi ni na ase akunya se yisi boss no se bia so se bia nya do eno wohwema na kwedo de bo no krabo no na emoha eninyi na so bia eno mama montia ma be kasa na ene de ba ne sei ti ba ne sadia na ekwakwe se selective comment we ni nsema hodwa attorney general de etu idwa abra okoshia omu 2025 omu annual general conference ekoso no ase na mestre se abra bedafo atransidia onye mungom na yehwe ne ko ene de ba da se wo jemre ewa da senanu yebesen asia yanko yinsim
training institutions the private training institutions leading the training of lawyers in this country. He's joining us in the studio. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana tonight.
Good evening.
Good evening, I beg your pardon. First off, I want to find out from you how we can deal with this mistrust, first off, before we get into what the Attorney General said. Just keeps coming up every now and then. What do we do?
Thank you very much for having me on your show once again. I don't think it's a mistrust. The relationship between the Ghana Bar Association and the official leader of the bar, that is the Attorney General, on the one hand, and then the relationship between the Ghana Bar Association and the state, on the other hand, can best be explained historically. I don't think it's a mistrust. You see, if you read our history carefully or examine our history carefully, you see that the one constituency that has been in the forefront of the fight for the downtrodden people or the vulnerable or disadvantaged has always been the Bar Association. So we can mention names like John Mensah Saba. So as far back as 1897, you had a lawyer leading the people of Ghana in their struggle against the colonial government with regard to land issues.
But evolution, as we have seen, well, the reason why I talk about mistrust is, now, that stems from the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayini's position on the selective public pronouncements of the association. And if that's not mistrust, I don't know how you want to describe this, but let's take a listen to the Attorney General, right? Let's take a listen to him earlier today at the bar conference that is ongoing. In fact, this is the first of the entire week-long conference that will be taking place, bringing together all members of the Ghana Bar Association as well. And take a look at this.
Immediately upon assuming office in 2017, an Article 146 petition was filed for the removal of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Mrs. Charlotte Osei, and her deputies from office. The bar saw no basis to speak out about compliance with due process. But in recent times, the bar found its voice when petitions based upon the same constitutionally defined procedures were brought in respect of the removal from office of the former Chief Justice, Mrs. Gertrude Araba-Tokono. Ladies and gentlemen, the honest question we have to ask ourselves is, what changed? The three petitions aforementioned touch and concern office holders of three constitutional bodies critical to the sustenance of our democracy. The independence of the three institutions has been guaranteed by the Constitution. The three occupants were all women of significant repute and members of our noble profession. The three committees established pursuant to Article 146 complied with the constitutional procedure to the letter. And yet, the bar found its voice only in relation to the third petition. Coincidentally, the voice of the bar amplified the voice of the opposition. The lawyer in politics must be a voice of reason, moderation, and constitutionalism. The bar must speak out not to please governments or opposition parties, but to defend the rule of law, the independence of the judiciary, and the rights of the ordinary citizen.
So that's the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayini there, clearly questioning the bars, the Ghana Bar Association's, what is described as a selective public pronouncement on issues. He cites three different instances and how the bar has conducted itself, especially the leadership of the association. In the case of Charlotte Osei, they were quiet, and now we've seen consistent pronouncements and actions by the association, the leadership of the Bar Association regarding the processes about the removed Chief Justice or the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. And it is those inconsistencies that he references, which he says does not give the Bar Association a good image that it desires. Is it one that you underscore and align with, or it's an issue that you think it's far-fetched?
No, I don't. I think on this particular issue, I cannot go along with the Honorable Attorney General.
Why is
you
that?
see, the fact is that the Ghana Bar Association has always taken, a stance on matters of national interest. It may be that in the Charlotte Osei case, the bar was passive, maybe by sheer coincidence. But in any case, the removal of Charlotte Osei was engineered by a lawyer. So, if we say that the bar and the person who petitioned for the removal of Charlotte Osei is a lawyer. And in fact, if my memory serves me, I think they were mates at the law school and a member of the Ghana Bar Association. So it cannot be said that the bar remained passive. They initiated it.
Well, but if
a member of the bar initiated it, it wasn't the official position of the bar as such.
So couldn't the bar have spoken out?
Yeah, but you see,
or spoken up about it?
To say what? Because what was being done at the time was in accordance with the Constitution. the removal of Charlotte Osei was in accordance with the Constitution.
But how about the removal
now,
of the Chief Justice?
In the case of, the immediate past Chief Justice, the Honorable Lady Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu, the bar had taken an official, stance in the beginning of advising the general public to allow the Constitution to work. It was in the middle, of the CJ removal process when the bar met. I think it was a media conference and then issued a statement. And I remember criticizing the bar for the statement it issued because it not, purport to represent, the view of the majority. Because I thought that it was uncalled for, having, admitted, that it was in furtherance of the outworkings of the Constitution, it would lie ill in the mouth of the same bar association to purport to distance itself from, a very reasoned position it had taken. And therefore, I will not say that, the bar, is being, passive or they are doing this or that. Then the second thing that my good friend, the Honorable Attorney General is suggesting is that it seems the bar now seems to be an appendage of the MPP. That's quite unfortunate.
But why is that?
It's unfortunate because,
what he
the
says
bar
gives him that reason.
Yeah,
so.
But the bar, cannot be accused of being an appendage of the NDC or CPP or MPP. The bar is the bar and will remain the bar.
Has the conduct of the bar lent itself to this kinds of descriptions from where you say? Just look at it based on the conduct that he references in the past and what is happening now.
Yeah, if we situate the issue in context, it becomes historical. And I was trying to trace the relationship
in the just recent past.
In the recent past, the bar has not behaved any differently. The bar has been, say, I think in the late 90s or early 2000s, Nana Addo Akuffo Addo, the former president, had presented himself for election as president on the eve of the bar conference in Sunyani. Somebody whispered into the ears of so I was there, and he said, Nana Addo was trying to align himself with former President Jerry Rawlings. That same evening, even those who wish to vote for Nana Addo changed their mind because the bar's position is, let us always be seen to be objective and credible. And being objective and credible doesn't align, the bar to the party in power. I'm sorry, but that is an unfortunate comment.
I see.
To have come from the official leader. Mind you, the Honorable Attorney General is the official leader of the bar. So if the same person is accusing the bar of partisanship,
so are you saying that but you raise concerns with the conduct of the bar in the removal of the Chief Justice, right? You had issue with
it. Because in one breath, they thought, that the president had done, what the Constitution mandated him to do. Right. In another breath, they criticized the president sidestepping. It was... So
you had an issue with that?
Yes. So but that doesn't mean that the bar is partisan. Not at all.
Should the bar have spoken out in the Loretta Lamte case?
Well, you see, if you say the bar, mind you, it draws its membership from the rank and file of the Republic. Yes. So the bar may decide, to make certain pronouncements on certain issues. It may also it all depends upon the General Council of the bar. We are members of the bar, but we have an executive. And it is what the executive says that binds everybody.
But does that also send a good signal of the bar that you belong to in terms of the optics the analysis of the optics. So that if you listen to the Attorney General, it talks about how your position, how inconsistent, you say you agree with partly with him because of the conduct of the bar in this recent instance of the removal of Chief Justice. But then again, you disagree with his conclusion. But then again, in terms of the optics out there, could the bar have done better in its conduct?
Like what?
Specific to the consistency of their instances or their positions that they take.
Well, if we have to count, the number of times, the bar has somersaulted, then, but I don't have the statistics. How many times, the bar has made a U-turn? I don't have the statistics. But what I'm saying is that the Honorable Attorney General is the official leader of the bar. For him, to accuse the bar of partisanship, it seems to me, to be contradictory in terms. As official leader of the bar, he must know, what will go in, into pronouncements of the bar. I can assure you that whatever the bar does is in good faith. It is because the bar continues to be the watchdog.
But would you say that the bar changing its position in the case of the immediate past Chief Justice is in good faith? The one that you had issues with, that they first issued a statement and later came back to change their position on it, is in good faith?
Well, if the executive or the association decides to take a certain stand, which may not reflect the stance of the majority, well, we are bound by whatever they say. But no one has taken the trouble to produce any data showing that majority of the bar are in agreement or in complete communion with what its leadership put forward. The moment the bar did that, I was on air saying that, look, you can't do that because I took initially I took the view that because then candidate Dramani Mahama had made a certain comment of a mindset initially, but when I looked at the petition and I compared the CJ removal process and the appointment of, justices of the Supreme Court, I was inclined into coming, the public to say that what the former Chief Justice did was infradic. You see, in trying to rely on a provision not meant for appointment, of justices to the Supreme Court, but rather to fill vacancies of the Judicial Council. And using that, I thought, was something that the former Chief Justice ought to be removed.
Right.
So I agreed, with the petitioners who said, that the conduct of the former Chief Justice was not, above reproach, and therefore, she should be removed.
Well, but let's make some reference. In the case of the removal of Charlotte Osei, it was the EC workers, Electoral Commission workers, who petitioned, and they were represented by a lawyer, Maxwell Pokwajiman. I think that's the man you were referencing. He was obviously a member of the bar, but not the bar, So it didn't bar the bar from speaking about it, essentially.
To speak against, the bar doesn't speak, just because it has to speak. The bar, makes pronouncements, based on the objective conditions on the ground. If in the view, in the considered opinion of the General Counsel or the bar.
Nti we ehyan sama horo timi course wo channel me so amana wasese wo gemre e wo hase da sene so bade no e de adom bi adom yene oni ebesen hyiam na yasomo e wo kwan so ko so kwa aha GH Politics Avenue.